Hello, everyone. Welcome to Training Tuesday. I am Suzanne Castle, founder of the Sparkle Factor and the Brilliant Teams, Brilliant Collaboration Model. I am thrilled beyond thrilled to be welcoming today Sue Ryan, who is an incredible coach. Now, here's what you need to know about Sue. She really believes that every single one of us is a prodigy and that we are just undiscovered. She is so passionate about guiding you to reveal and maximize your true potential so that you can be your greatest, leading yourself and others. And for more than 30 years, this amazing, magnificent woman has been modeling that very thing with individuals in teams, from the small business entrepreneur to the Fortune 100 C-suite leaders. She is incredible. And I can't believe that she said yes to come and talk to us about how we show up in this time, how we can make decisions with clarity in the middle of the stress mania that we find ourselves in. Sue, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so delighted to welcome you.
Thank you, Suzanne, for inviting me. I am just thrilled to be able to be here. And yes, every one of us is a prodigy. And my goal in life is that everybody discovers their own unique prodigy themselves. So hopefully this will help them today.
I know that it will. And I want to give you as much time as possible. So the way this is going to work today is she has a wonderful presentation. It's going to guide us through some resources. Those will be available after the fact in a PDF file in the groups. So be sure you check that out, and it will have contact information for her if you want to contact her and work with her in another setting. So I'm going to release it to her, and then at the end we'll have a short Q&A in case anything's come up. So just a reminder, use the comments if you're on YouTube or Facebook, and let us know if you've got a question along the way, and we'll address that, or just let us know where you're watching from. Okay, Sue, let's take it away.
Right. At a time when we're being tested like never before, it's more important than ever for us now to have clarity on our emotions, thoughts, and actions in each area of our lives, so we can make the wise choices that support us in all the areas of our lives. We're not on autopilot anymore.
That's for sure.
Yeah, that was when you get up in the morning, you're brushing your teeth, checking your phone, and you're finishing getting dressed while you're eating breakfast and you're walking the dog and talking to one of your coworkers. You know, we can study, we can learn, people can teach us, but we cannot practice what our emotions are actually going to be when we're in an experience. We also don't know how it's going to impact the trajectory of our lives moving forward. For example, the birth of our first child, being in live combat at war, or living through a global pandemic. But the huge opportunity for us, now that we're off of autopilot, is we have the opportunity to explore and to choose what we want our emotions, thoughts, and actions to be in each area of our lives, so they do serve our lives much better. When I was doing research, one of the things I learned, and this was actually shocking to me, Suzanne, is that more than 90% of our emotions, thoughts, and actions are unconscious. We're not even thinking about it. Now, there's a really good reason for that. Our personalities are formed in early childhood. They're a function of our genetics and our early childhood experiences. And by about the time we're out of second grade, then we got this, off we go. It's unconscious. We're not even thinking about them. And so we bring with us things that were what we chose when we were in early childhood. And now, one of the great things to know is they don't have to stay unconscious. And that's really important for us, especially now. When we say out with the old and in with the true, because each of us is unique, and because we have these wonderful personalities, each of us is different. However, we each have, under times of challenge, one of 3 different dominant emotions. And that comes from either fear, or anger, or shame. And if we don't get clarity on what emotions we want to have in each of the areas of our lives, whatever that dominant emotion is going to control all of our lives. And that's what prevents us from being open to the potential and possibilities of what's going on and being our best in our lives. I'll give you an example. I don't know about you, Suzanne, if you've ever known anybody who when times are great, they're the nicest person, they're wonderful, they're great to be around. And yet when times are challenging, it's like, who is that person? They become this other person. I've known several, and I happen to have one of them as a friend of mine. And after a particularly bad experience, I said, what is it? Why is it that you do this? And her response, it's just the way I am. That's an example of somebody who's on autopilot and doesn't even know they don't have to be, but we do. We don't have to be on autopilot, and here's how we change it. For those of us who are clients of Suzanne's, we've done this wonderful exercise of the Wheel of Life, where we look at each category in our lives and go through a really robust experience. And while we're not going to do that, and it's a phenomenal exercise, we are going to use the Wheel of Life for our purposes, because it does give us the different categories. So we're going to evaluate each area in our lives and ask us several questions. And Suzanne, as you mentioned, there's going to be a handout at the end, and you'll get those questions and you can ask yourself some more. But as you ask yourself these questions, here's the most important thing for you to do. And that is massively accept exactly where you are right now and stay radically present to how you feel in each category of your life. And the reason this is so important, you don't bring the baggage of your old emotions with you. You don't have any of that come back with you. And you don't try to be a fortune teller and project the future. You stay radically present. And the reason this is so important is so that you can stay objective. And it's when you're objective that you have the opportunity to then, excuse me, my computer just flipped over something here. Then you have the opportunity, oh, there you go, to take conscious action in each one of these areas. And the reason that you need to be able to do that is that when you look in each area and when you understand exactly where you are in that area and you're able to take that conscious action, then you can celebrate the areas where you do have strength. And you can say, hey, I'm staking my claim, I'm good in this area. And yet in those areas where you could use support, you can say, yes, I do need support in this area. And when you do that, what you can do with needing the support in that area is then you can say, hey, this is the help I need. This is what I've got going on. You know how to get the help, and you're willing to accept the help and do something about it. And when you're able to do that, then you can begin to find a rhythm. You kind of go around and you look at this every single day. You kind of review it. How am I doing? You make some adjustments. And when you're able to do this, then, and this is the other really important part and the exciting part of this exercise, any teeny tiny, no matter how small it is, advancement, you celebrate it. And the reason you celebrate it is this celebration and these continuous reminders of where you're making progress. These are where you start to create your new unconscious behaviors. And those are the ones that serve you now. And so then you're feeling a lot better. You're making the choices that are wise choices to serve you in each area of your life. But then every once in a while, just like you did here, go back and flip off that autopilot switch and say, hey, those served me for a period of time, but let me go back and reevaluate them and see what I want to do next. And there we go. In summary, become aware of your thoughts, emotions, and actions in each area of your life. You choose them. Don't let unconscious behaviors and thoughts and actions drive you. Choose what you want them to be. Take intentional actions, whether it's to celebrate what you're doing well or get and accept and implement the support that benefits you. Leverage your areas of strength. Celebrate, create new unconscious patterns of behavior that serve you right now. And then check in periodically and reevaluate if that's the right thing for you still today. So thank you so very, very much. Suzanne, do you have any questions?
Oh, no, thank you, Sue. This is so good. So talk to us about when you think about celebrating your strengths and where you are and how you can keep using that to make progress. Do you have some ideas on how to do that?
Absolutely. And this is another thing about where each one of us is unique. So for some of us, a celebration might be that that we have written down a series of goals and we go, yeah, I've checked that off. Yeah, I've checked that off. For some of us, what it is that we just check in with how are we feeling. When we started out, especially in an area where we weren't feeling very good about it, and we realized, hey, you know what? I'm feeling better about it now. That's a celebration. When somebody says, boy, you really seem like you're really handling this well, that's a celebration. So for each of us, that's going to be unique, but it's anything that honors for us that we're making progress. And if ever even a little bit of doubt creeps in that, oh, I'm not worthy or I'm not good, anything that was from the past, anything that might have limited you, just say, no, that does not serve me anymore. These are my choices and this is where I'm going. Off with you. Let's go. What do I have to celebrate? So a huge other thing that you can do, because so many of us are programmed to think negatively about things, anytime you start to have a negative thought, stop. What's the opposite? What's the polar opposite? Go 180. If you start to think, I'm not worthy, oh, yes, I am, and here's why. And then you'll continue to reprogram yourself, and it works every time.
I think that is a wonderful question to ask yourself. What is the opposite of that negative thought? And reframing, I find, is a really helpful tool in these days where there's the onslaught of media and information, and depending on what channel you watch or who you tune into, it changes even minute by minute, and that's a whole lot for us to take in. We're just trying to stay the course and keep on a positive trail. And so if we can practice reframing when a negative thing creeps up in our lives, I think it serves us better, and it's good for our brain to say, this is not all that there is. Just like you were talking about, this is part of this. This doesn't have to be the whole of this. And I just think that that's a really helpful way to think through that. And you very excellent in helping us think about that.
Reframe it. And that also takes you off of autopilot. If you just have that negative thought and accept it, that's right. Autopilot. But when you say, no, I'm going to consciously choose, and I choose the opposite, and this is what it is, that's taking you right back off of autopilot.
Yes. And I think it's interesting how I see companies and clients in my own circle, they're saying, okay, we realize now the world is not going to look the same. Even when, let's say, everything is opened back up. Let's say it's this time next year, there's a vaccine, everything's back to normal. I don't think we are going back to normal. And so I think the quicker that we can absorb the fact that my autopilot didn't serve me in all the ways it could have. So instead, what do I need to keep and what do I need to shed so that I can be my best possible self or company or leader as I show up in the world? I think that's an incredible gift that you're giving to us today. And I'm so honored by that.
Thank you. Yeah. It's great for us to be able to know that we can choose. Yes. And because so much of what we do is just unconscious, because we're not really thinking about it, we don't take time to recognize it. And so this is, I don't really think that before was normal either. I think that what we just weren't being was intentional. And so I think more about us being like, what's going to be my new intentional? What's going to be my new conscious? What am I going to be doing?
I love that. What's my new intentional? I think about in my own world as a mom, we as parents, we give our children choices. Like we'll say, okay, you can have this or this for dinner, or you can go to bed now, or you can go to bed in 5 minutes. But when it comes to our own lives as adults, somehow we just like block that out, and we don't see that we actually do have some choices that we can make in the middle of the mania. And this has been a helpful refresher, I know, for me and for everyone that catches this, that the choice factor of not having to do things the way that you thought you had to do them is super, super empowering. And that's what I'm always about, is trying to empower people to take control of their lives and their leadership to make the world a better place. I know that you're passionate about that too.
Oh, yes, I sure am.
Well, I want to thank you for your time, Sue. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we sign off for the day?
Just remember, every one of us is a prodigy. Many of us are undiscovered. Go look for it. You'll find it. And it's awesome when you get there.
It definitely is. Thank you. You honor me and this community so much by showing up today. I appreciate the giving of your spirit. Everyone, don't forget, the PDF will be in the file section in the Facebook groups. If you're catching this on YouTube and you'd like a copy, if you shoot me an email, we or Sue will make sure, both of us, that you get what you need. We want to resource you to be the best possible you that you can be. Wishing you great joy and love as you walk through your day. And we'll see you next Training Tuesday. Thanks, Sue. Bye-bye.
Thank you.